Hi guys, this is Rose. In between characters here, I wanted to make a short video just to discuss the game so far and what we've seen, and for those of you who don't really know what's going on, they don't get it, you don't really appreciate what we've seen so far. That's okay. It's not everybody's cup of tea, this kind of game. So we're missing Ruby and Robin right now. And this is just kind of going to be an analysis and summary of what we've seen. So we played Robin first, and after I played Ruby, I'm pretty certain now that the forest is meant to change. It's going to be pretty much the same, not entirely the same, but the atmosphere of the forest is going to change to reflect the character's nature. For Robin, and I didn't notice this again until after we played Ruby, there were little golden flecks of grass on the ground that almost gave it a slightly enchanted look, and it was still really dark forest and parts of the ground were black, but parts of the ground were also like little gold blades of grass. And on Ruby, there was that huge lake we found in the middle, which I'm debating on whether that's actually the location of the graveyard. Does the graveyard disappear once you've interacted with the wolf there on Robin? Or maybe it's just a lake being, a lake, and it was very, very gloomy forest in comparison. It's extremely dark. It had little puddle ponds everywhere and dreary looking fog. And so on Robin, let's talk about what happened at the end with Robin, since I didn't really get a chance to comment on it too much, because I was seeing it for the first time, and I was scared out of my mind because I'd been playing that game all day, and the music was haunting me, and it's terrible. I didn't know what to expect, because I had never been in that house before, and it's all ripped up like that. So we went and interacted with the wolf, and she jumped on its back, and it looked like she had no fear of it, no thought crossed her mind that it would ever cause her any harm. And it kind of reminds me of the original Little Red Riding Hood story, where she ends up on the path, right? So in the original story, she finds the wolf, and the wolf doesn't really hurt her or anything. The wolf actually lets her go and then meets her back at grandmother's house, which kind of seems like what happened there. She jumped on its back. It looked like to me, I might be wrong, but it looked like to me it was trying to shake her off. It looked like the wolf was not trying to participate in that little piggyback ride there. And then she gets to grandmother's house, and after looking like she got messed up or something, and the whole house was just torn up, and if I stood there too long, then the screen started to get dark, and it freaked me out, and I could hear growling. I could hear growling in the house, kind of like in the story, the wolf's waiting for her, and it was pretty scary. Atmosphere being the one playing, but I'm a pansy on the other hand, huge pansy. And when you get into the final room, you see some flashes of scenes, but you don't really know what they are, and the general, after watching it again, the general idea that I'm getting from that is that she was killed by the wolf. Yeah, that's really what I'm getting from that, because you see like flashes of the wolf, you see flashes of like an arm laying there. I can only conclude that, sad as it may be, she was torn apart and killed by the wolf. It's very, very sad. And thinking about that, and then also thinking about what happened to Ruby, that kind of makes me think that that was her downfall, right? Meeting the wolf was her downfall, and then all over the house there were signs of the wolf, and maybe interacting with the wolf, jumping on its back, having no fear of it, led to her downfall. Her downfall was that she didn't have the experience to know that the wolf was dangerous, or the experience to know what is dangerous in the world. And you could see that reflected on a lot of the objects that you interact with. Not really having a concept. The whole, it's hard for me to imagine about death thing, and then picking up the dead bird and whatnot. Just a whole idea of innocence and naivety about Robin, and it was really sad to see that. It was sad to play it, and then with with Ruby, I have to be honest, I didn't feel as bad with her about, you know, how it happened, because it wasn't as scary. It wasn't as visually scary, the whole wolf thing. So let's get into Robin, I guess. Robin, I keep saying Robin. They both start with R. Ruby. Her forest was completely dark and everything, and yeah, we talked about that. She seemed like a very, very, very depressed, cynical, hopeless teenager, and that was very, very sad to watch and listen to the things that she said. It just sounded like somebody who had, you know, had a very, very hopeless look, and I thought it was unnecessary, or at least that's how I feel about it in general. And just kind of like the whole, you know, it doesn't have to be that bad, just kind of. Anyway, so she ends up at her grandmother's house after interacting with the man at the playground, and I'm not really sure what to make of that, except thinking, you know, she mentioned cigarettes before, and she mentioned several times about basically saying that she didn't enjoy life, she wanted to die, she wanted an early death, she didn't enjoy living, and that was kind of sad to hear, actually. And then the man smokes, gives her a cigarette, she smokes, which ends her up back on the road, which I would assume is her downfall. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is the influence, thinking about influence, maybe teenagers her age, how much of an impact people around them, or maybe negative or positive influences, have on a person at that age, leading to her downfall. And the house was all full of smoke and everything. I'm really, really disappointed that I didn't get to experience the sound in the house, and I thought of everything that I could to try to go back and redo it for you guys. I'm so sorry, but unfortunately the only thing that I could have done is to completely start a new game all over again, play through Robin, play through Ruby again, to record that one scene, and I just didn't think that would be the right thing to do, because, well, first off, I would lose everything I've done. I would have to completely uninstall the game. I would have to start a new game. There is no saving separate games. So anyway, the smoke and... Oh, right! The car. The car seemed really significant to me, but I noticed when I went back and watched my videos, when you go up to the car, it gives you the superimposed image of the open birdcage. And I was thinking about it. I thought it had to mean something, because the birdcage and the car both show up in the gymnasium of the house when you enter it at the end. So I thought about it. What does a cage represent? Imprisonment, most likely. At least that's what comes to mind for me. Therefore, an open cage would reference freedom. And that actually clicked pretty fast in my head. When you were a teenager, maybe when Ruby is a teenager her age, and for me as well, a car represented freedom. You know, to go, to just leave, right? To fly away, so to speak. And then also the car was on fire in the gymnasium, and taking a second look at it, I noticed that it was also beat up, so I was kind of thinking car crash. And then I kind of just put it together. She climbed into the bird cage at the end, and it got swung around, it crashed to the floor, kind of similar to a car crash. And that, and then the whole house was full of smoke, just like for Robin, it was full of signs of the wolf. So, I'm sure that on a more, on a deeper level, the cigarettes were the downfall of Ruby. Or at least the influence, or maybe, something to that nature. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. Anyway, that is about all that I have to say. I want to keep this pretty short. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but you can completely skip it if you do not wish to hear me rant forever. Most likely I will next play Ginger or Carmen. I was thinking about Ginger because she seems like she's right in between the two ages of Ruby and Robin. And then we can kind of compare what does a child her age think compared to Ruby and Robin, because at Ruby's age is completely different from what Robin thinks, and maybe Ginger would be somewhere in the middle. Or I might do Carmen because she looks kind of interesting too, and maybe it might might be a little bit more interesting for you guys to play an older character that maybe you can relate to more, or maybe would have more depth to their character. Robin's character didn't really have too much depth. Ruby's, I'm sorry to say this, I hope it doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, but Ruby's character didn't have too much depth to me either. It seemed pretty stereotypical to me. So, anyway, I hope you guys are really enjoying this. I am really enjoying making this. I will probably be leaving Rose for last, for obvious reasons. I'll just say it right now. I'll make this video a tiny bit longer. I'm not looking forward to playing Rose. I'm not. After seeing what happened to Robin and Ruby, I'm not really looking forward to seeing something like that happen to Rose. And I don't even know her yet. I see her petting a rabbit, but I love animals. I really do. So, I don't know. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next video. And, Happy New Year's Eve to those of you, or Happy New Year's Day whenever this video goes up.